Hi and welcome to the channel. Now today's video is about this Technics SA-180L receiver. It's a receiver that's been sent to me for nothing, for free, from Alex. Alex Mitchell sent me this, a regular watcher of my videos, a regular YouTuber to my channel. So I thank Alex there, I thank you very, very much indeed. That saved me go out and buying anything like this. And I've had a few conversations backwards and forwards in the comments, etc. with Alex, and he's a bit like me, but I think he's a little bit more diverse and going out and buying quite a bit of stuff actually to try out and trying to pick up a great system for a small price. He's also collecting as well. I think he's got a bit of a collection there going as well. But it's not a receiver that I would have went out and bought, I must admit. I mean, I'm not like I've been looking for it. Maybe if I come across one really cheap accidentally, I may have thought I'll get that because it's pretty cheap. But it's not one I would normally go and get for. I'm kind of more on safer ground, shall we say. I've been sticking to the Sansuis and a few bits and pieces that I know no matter which one I get, I should be on fairly safe ground, where Alex has gone all different directions. And he's obviously come unstuck quite more than I have, I think, buying all different stuff. But now he's sent this, and there's a couple more items coming from Alex. I'm really, really grateful for that. I can bring them a few items to the channel and share my thoughts on these items. Now, looking at this, first of all, let's just tell you when this came out. This came out in 1987. It's 35 watts a channel, and back then I think it retailed for what I could gather about £185 back then. It kind of retailed for here in the UK. I'm going to compare it to this 331. Reason being that this is a low wattage receiver, and it's kind of low wattage receiver for that time, I suppose, but it is 35 watts a channel when we compare it to this 10 watts a channel. No, sorry, 12 watts a channel. This is 12 watts a channel. So there's a bit of a difference. This is 3.5 times more powerful than this. Well, no, it isn't. It's about 2.5, and it's something like more powerful. Something like that. Maths ain't no great today. But we're going to come to that in a minute anyway. But another thing is also that this uses one of these kind of like, I said amplifier on a chip, but it ain't really on a chip. It's like just an amplifier in a kind of box. There's a few different transistors in there. It's not like an IC as such. It's quite a bigger unit. So yeah, it's in a package more than anything else. And the package here is an STK 4152, and this is in 1987. And when we rewind the clock back to 1975, when this first came out, so it's 12 years earlier, this used one of them packages, modules, whatever you want to call it, and this used an STK, another STK 014, so number 14 kind of thing. You could go, I think they kind of jumped, they didn't go one right up to 4,000, there's some jumps in there obviously, but there's a big gap here between the STKs being used, so that was a bit interesting as well. What would the sound difference be like? So what we're going to do, we're going to have a little look inside this unit here. Okay, looking inside, we can see it's got a nice big transformer there, and we can see the STK being used mounted to the heatsink. Now, also looking inside, I did have a look, and all these capacitors, except other bits and pieces there, mainly capacitors actually, not of any make or anything. I think these, even though this unit's made in Singapore, I think these are like probably just cheap Japanese capacitors and that. So I suppose if we changed all them, we're probably going to for some makes kind of things, some well-known ones, we're probably going to get a little bit better sound out of this. I should imagine. Not a job I'm going to do. Once I finish with this is going to a local charity shop that I do give a little bit of stuff, not a lot, and it's great for me to give a little bit more, because I do get a few things out of there. I've had a few, not many, but I've had a few things that I've done okay on, kind of thing. So to give them something back, and they usually kind of take notice of what I say it's worth if I give them something. Don't like them overcharging people, but obviously they've got to make a profit and all that kind of stuff and whatever. But it's in nice shape, this unit. It's in nice condition and everything, so they should do that. And it's quite smart looking, really. So someone will pick this up, I think, after I've used it. I'm not going to put it back on eBay or anything like that, that's for certain. Okay, like I said, this gets good reviews. A few reviews I've found seem to get good reviews. I'm going to compare it to this Sansui, like I said, this 331. Some people may say a little bit unfair because this is held in quite high regard along with the 441, that kind of thing in the Sansui range. Thing is, like I say, it's got STK. This is only rated at 12 watts, this is rated at 35, but you wouldn't really notice the difference of that when you started moving this volume control. When I put this up to about 2.5, I could put this up to 2.5, and we're going to get the same volume levels. We're going to get the same volume levels. There's no real difference. You wouldn't say this has got 2.5 times more grump, more power in it at all. They're on level playing fields, really. So this 12 watts, you could turn and say is quite comfortably 30 watts kind of thing, or 35 watts, what this is. It does the job fine with that. There's no real difference there. Right, I'm going to, don't know where to start off really. I've got quite a few things to say about it. Like I say, it's more of a comparison to this and whether you should buy it now. on eBay at the moment, one of these is up for £15, buy it now. I think about £8 postage, but some people go up to about £100 on that. So I just want to let you know what this goes for, so you can kind of take that into account. And this here, you're going to pay between £70 and about £120, somewhere around that for this item, I think, here, the Sansui one. Right, okay, we're going to start off with the soundstage, I think. The soundstage was pretty good on this. It's pretty good. The instruments seem to be where they should be. Everything seems to be where it should be and everything. But when we compare it to this, it's not as three-dimensional. It's a more flatter soundstage. It's not so three-dimensional. It hasn't got the airiness that this has got to it. This hasn't got the little light touches and that this has got. But it's okay, you know what I mean? It's not too bad. It's not too bad. But I'm just going to go to the list. I've written it down really, so I may miss something off otherwise. But it's going to be a bit all over the place because this is I've written it down. The sound on this here is not as flowing. This is quite an easy flowing, keeps up with everything. Nothing's too much trouble. It delivers like with me. It's not nothing's like it's not being squeezed or anything like that. Where you think this is being strained a little bit. Or sometimes when you listen to some tracks, it seems to be a little bit strained. Seems to be, I wouldn't say struggling, but not as flowing, not as easy kind of going. Not as, you know, this is no problem at all. Sling that instrument out, sling this vocal out, no problem at all with the Sansui. With here, it's putting a bit more hard work into it, kind of thing. It's not got as luxurious. This is more of a luxurious, velvety kind of pure kind of sound when you compare it to this. This is harsh around the edges, harsh around the edges with everything really. This unit, especially when you start creeping the mid-range to the top end, it's quite, you know, it can get a bit harsh there. The lower end isn't too bad. The lower end isn't too bad. What I did find is that listening to pianos and a few instruments and that, they haven't got the resolution this has got, and this may be the reason that on here it just seems just slightly, not by a vastly amount, but slightly off key. They just doesn't sound quite right. Some instruments, like as it's playing, doesn't seem quite right. Slightly off key, would say, when we compare it to this. Is giving more of a flowing, more, like I say, luxurious, more of a pure kind of sound. And with this, going back to the instruments, they can, something like when you hit the splash cymbal and stuff like that, and the crash cymbal and stuff like that, it can sound like they're just a, well, that, you know, that person's paid £5 for his kit. He's probably only paid 1,000 when we're listening to this. The detail on that's still there, but it's not as good. Like, it's not as good as the Sansui. It just seems that they're playing with a slightly cheaper kit kind of thing on some instruments and that. Like I say, it's just it's a bit rough around the edges really. It's not vastly amount, but it's a kind of thing that I could play one CD on it. Like, I mean, I'm lucky. I've got another one to compare it to, another one to listen to. You know, I can say, well, I don't really like this so much as the other one, so I can put this aside and plonk this on and listen to some CDs or whatever with this. If you weren't in that situation, I think, you know, this is an amp that I'd listen to a CD on. I won't be enthusiastic about putting another CD on. I think I've had enough. It's got a bit fatiguing now. I've kind of had enough now. That'll do me. I'll go and do something else. Well, with this, I think, oh, well, I've played that CD. Let's stick another one out, carry on, and not even think about it. I'm being entertained, kind of thing. So, yeah, it's just you know, this is space around. This gives more space around the instruments, space around everything really than this does. These can kind of intermingle with each other, these instruments, and they can kind of interfere with each other as well. Like, you know what I mean, if when you're hitting the drum or something like that, or the tom-tom or something like that, and the piano's being played, you just feel like it's just interfering with it a little bit. So yeah, it's more space, more detail, more resolution here. And like I say, this can just get a bit fatiguing. It can sound a little bit metallic in places as well. Some of the instruments and that can sound a little bit metallic where they shouldn't do. Got that little bit of a edge to it, kind of thing. So yeah, that's it really. That's the difference between these two. Now, like I say, something to bear in mind. I think you should always bear this in mind. You know, I would bear it in mind is that this. All right, you can get this for £15, and you went and bought that today for £15. Well, this is going to cost you. Say it was like £100, so it's going to cost you nearly 8 times as much, 7 times as much, is it? Something like that. 7 times better. Is it 7 times better? Well, probably not. Probably not 7 times better. It's hard to do a times kind of thing. But after a while, you're going to get, like I say, it gets a bit fatiguing. It's a little bit harsh around the edges, that kind of stuff. And what I would say is that depending what you're going to do, you know, if you want to go and buy this for £15, all well and good, and you're going to connect up a CD player that's cost you £20, all well and good, you're going to go and buy some second-hand CDs, 50p, 10 for £1, all that kind of stuff they are in the shop, all well and good. That's great. You're going to get yourself a cheap set of speakers, £20 or £30, all well and good. So you've got a complete setup, probably paid 50 quid, 60 quid for it, something like that, and you're just going to go out and pay 50p and £1 and get 5 or 6 CDs here and there and whatever. okay, that's all right, and you're going to plonk an odd CD on every now and again, and that's it. You're not really going to take too much, not listen to too much detail of the sound. You're probably going to be happy. You're probably going to be okay. But what I would say is, if you're going to buy this, then go and spend £100 or £50 on a set of speakers, 70, 80, £100 on a set of speakers. You're going to go and buy a CD, 50, 60, 70, £80, and you're going to go out and buy some vinyl, for instance, or some brand new CDs, but mainly vinyl, and you're going to pay maybe £20 for an album or something like that, and you're going to build up a collection. Then why would you buy this? You know what I mean? It makes no sense at all. You're paying more for an album than you bought this for. It's just absolutely pointless. Save up your money, save up a little bit extra. It's not going to take you that much longer. You're going to forsake buying a few albums that you would normally buy and put the money towards this or something like this, something in this range, or something that gets more of a better kind of review than this. I'd probably give it a pass, give it a miss if you're if you're going to start spending some money on a collection. And buy it all new rather than, like, say, some cheap second-hand CDs. I mean, you can't really buy many cheap second-hand records these days. Wherever I go, you go in Oxfam and places like that, they're £5, £10, £20. You know what I mean? And none of them are cheap these days. Vinyl seems to be like creeping up, and they seem to just stick a price tag and hope for the best kind of thing. Okay, so that's it. It's okay-ish. It's okay-ish. I wouldn't recommend it really. I think save up your money and get something a little bit more. Like I say, you're going to enjoy. It's going to be a bit more purer, a bit more luxurious sound to it, and something you're going to enjoy. You're not going to get fatigued about, and you're going to sit back and just while away. You're being entertained, while away, relaxed. That's it. Until the next video. And the next video, I'll tell you what I will do. I've managed to get hold of some bulbs now. So if you want to stick around, or not stick around, you don't sit here wait for me to turn up. But if you want to come back for the next video, yeah, don't just sit here waiting on my channel. You'll be there forever. Yeah, I bought myself a load of bulbs here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try a few different colours. There's quite a few colours out now, these LED fuse type bulbs. So I'm going to have a little bit muck about, doing a few different colours and that, showing you a few screenshots and all that kind of thing, pictures, and go into it a bit more of how find out the information about the bulbs, etc. So I thought that'd be an interesting video to bring to the channel that not everyone's kind of covered. I know one or two people have a few pictures up of different bulbs, etc. But I thought I'd go in and see a few more colours that have come out recently and see what they look like. Okay, until then, I'll say thanks for watching, and I'll see you all soon.